Hello and welcome and happy anniversary. So we are in Alchemist Code official anniversary celebration. I know they're calling it week 2, but let's be real. This is the first real week of it. And I've got kind of mixed feelings so far. We got really big updates in terms of one of our best characters, Sol, getting a job plus, and then something nobody expected, which was the global original free unit Soren getting upgrades. We're going to go over all of that as well as the banners. But first, I want to get rid of a little bit of housekeeping here. I'm not going to be doing a summoning today. Aside from that free little summon they have, I don't want to leave you guys with nothing. But the reason for this is because I am fairly certain they're going to do something special on the 14th, because that's the day of the actual anniversary. So I assume there'll be some special anniversary banner. And that'll give me a little time to think exactly how I want to summon, because I'm definitely going to be summoning for the Soul's Memento. And I'm not sure if I want to do the coin banner. But yeah, we'll get to that later. So on probably late at night on the 14th, that's when I'm going to put up my big summoning video. So keep your eyes open for that. All right, now let's get into the content in earnest. So I'd like to start with just the biggest thing overall, and that is the Die Fröhlich quest line, which is a job plus for Soul, as well as I think you can get Ainz's weapon. Sadly, I've not had any time to even do this yet, but it's the usual dungeon quest. You do the quest, then you do the hard quest, then you fight the boss. Now they've added this new function of the extra boss, which I guess it's like a boss that you have to one-shot it and it gets incrementally harder, something like that. I'm gonna experiment with that later. If it warrants its own video, might look at that later. But honestly, between potential unit reviews and all that, I don't know if I'll get to that. But I would say everybody should do this quest. There's quite a few prizes as far as you want to get the stuff for Soul. Whether you have him or not, it's no fun getting a character right after something finished reruns, and then you're like, oh, well, now I have him, but I have to wait. So my philosophy is farm every job plus, because you never know what can happen. So you can get some shards. For those looking to transmute Ainz, you'll find 25 of those here. So I definitely say everybody should do it. I'm sure we'll get into boss strats all over YouTube within the next day or two. So yeah, that's the real big thing. And then a slightly less big thing is the job plus that Soren got. And that's going to be a permanent thing. So I wouldn't stress that in the same way I'm stressing the Soul job plus, because you have as much time to do it. Now, granted, it's going to be grindy, because not only do you have to get Soren to where he needs to go before you're ready for this, because you can only use him in the event. I'm still chugging along here. I haven't done the EX plus yet, because I just got my Soren to 75. It's kind of a slog to get him to 75, and then imagine once you get the job plus unlocked and the job enchant for Sage unlocked, you'll hit a little bit of a bump, and then you can do the rest of the grinding a little bit easier. I recommend it, but you don't have to make it a priority because it's permanent. And then for even less important stuff, there's yet another anniversary quest. This time it's elemental shards, so I definitely remember to do it every day. And then also very important is that Vision Clear Pro is running once a day. So you can get a lot of VCR stuff. I just got Emers's today, so I'm pretty excited, even though I haven't had a chance to use it. And then we got Saga, which is good for anybody who pulled on the Sprite mementos, as well as, of course, one for the new ones. And then this is kind of normally where I'd end the content, because that's the stuff you can actually do. But there's a few things I want to go over in the shop, because it's an anniversary, it's a special occasion. There's some things I'd like to point out, be wary of, that kind of thing. And express some of my disappointment in the process thus far. So first off, there is an anniversary celebration shop. Now, before I go any further, buy everything that's Zenny, because it's almost free, and it's at least decent stuff. Now, everything that's not Zenny is just paid gems, and I don't love this. I think the cost does not match the scarcity of the items very well. So there's a unit selector, which if it had limiteds on there, that might be worth it. Actually, that would be worth it, 100%. But as you can see, it is all just the normal pool units. I mean, maybe if you're relatively new and like somewhere in the dolphin range and you need to snag yourself a Veda unit, I guess. But I would. How long is this shop around? It's around for the next month, so I would hold off on buying anything for paid gems in the shop because we don't know what we're gonna get for free yet. They might do like a producer's letter on the 14th. So yeah, I don't know. I might. There's one for Memento. After all the dust is settling and this shop is almost expired, I might pick up Fury's Memento with this for 500 paid gems, but I don't know yet. I'm not quite ready to jump on that. And then I wouldn't really mess with anything else. Oh, except for the gear. The gear for 50 paid gems, if you have them, and there's a gear you really want, that one actually, I'll say that one's a good deal. Oops, that's the elemental shards. That's not what I wanted. This one, because there's some fairly new ones on here. But you might want to wait because we might get one for free. I would get the Scepter of Sin if I was going to grab one of those. So yeah, that one's kind of a bummer. But oh well. Oh god, we have runes. I totally forgot to mention runes. Yeah, those are a thing that you have to be rank or player level 150 to get. And they're kind of this like RNG stat raising element. If you've played other gacha games like I've been playing Genshin Impact recently, and these kind of remind me of the artifacts from Genshin Impact, where you can get set bonuses, and there's a little bit of RNG in the substats for raising stats, so you can just like grind those out. There's so much other stuff going on, though. I'll have to focus on those later. That would probably warrant its own video, so look for that in the future. And then as far as coin shops, there's a bunch. We remember the 3rd anniversary coins from the first week. There's more banners that are going to give those. Now, these are pretty good if there's units that you have that you want to raise more. The more like Whaley or limited units cost 5 each, but like the Magna Historia ones only cost 2 each. So if you're especially looking to raise global units, you can get a lot of value out of that. So then there's also this community choice thing, which I'm going to rant about this in the banner overview, but there are these coins you can get, and if you do it enough times, you can get a selector with a bunch of really good units. But I just want to say, like, TLDR, it's really expensive, so I don't think it's worth it. But for whatever reason, if you got a bunch of those coins, you could always convert them to 3rd anniversary coins. But I don't know. I don't want to ramble about that too much right now. So yeah, that's everything related to the anniversary. A few more Gate 6s came out. So far, of all of the ones that have come out, I would say don't bother with most of them unless it's like your favorite character or something, except for Soul. I haven't done his Job Plus yet, but the first thing I did when I started playing today was I got his Gate 6. Haven't gotten the Memento yet, but that'll be, that's something that might happen on the 14th or maybe the next week, depending. But yeah, if you look at his health, it's pretty nuts. So, because I think I forgot to mention this in the video where I went over Gate 6 in a nutshell, but those sinful bubbles are very, very scarce right now unless you're willing to shell out real money for them, which I would not advise unless you're just unless you're whale, like, in all caps. So they're going to be scarce for a while, and so I would be very, very choosy with how you use them. But Soul, I would say 100% worth it. Or if you got the Sprite people, them, or if you get Ainz or Nero, certainly. But yeah, yay for Soul having Gate 6. Okay, so yeah, that is it for all of the big content stuff. So yeah, let us move on to the banners. Okay, here we are at the banners. So first and foremost, there is a free special summon. You get 3 units. One of them is guaranteed to be limited. So, that's cool. That's just objectively good. I will accept that and say thank you. And you know what? Let's do it right now. Since there's not going to be a summoning portion, just before we get started, everybody should do this, and let's see what we get. I am definitely curious to see what the results will be. It's really not a bad pool, so can't complain about that. Oh, all right. I wasn't sure if it was all reds or not. I forgot to check the details, so it is all reds. And we got Minerva. All right. I could take that. I'm still enlightening her. And Veer, who I mostly have fully built. Ooh, but then there's Gate 6 to think about. And Setsuna. That one is less exciting than the other two. Alright, nothing too amazing, but I'll definitely take more Minerva shards. She's kind of a boss. Alright, okay. Now the banner part in earnest. So first off, we've got a Grand Summon, which is a reroll banner of the you get 100 shards of a unit variety. I don't hate these banners, but I would definitely hold your fire for now, just in the context of it being the anniversary, because, sometimes they'll pop a banner in on the weekend, and then the fact that the weekend and the date of the anniversary are the same thing in this case, I just think it's very likely that there'll be another paid banner that could maybe make this one look not so good by comparison. But it doesn't mean it's terrible. If you're like really whaley, then, go for it. It's, in all honesty, probably one of your better bets at getting both Ainz and Nero, and if you're going the transmutation path. Because then you'd have, 2/3 of the job done in an instant. Just be wary, though, that you can, if you get too greedy with these banners, you can end up with just 10 farmables, and that sucks. Like, spending $30 and getting really no tangible gain out of it, that definitely sucks. So my principle is usually, if I achieve whatever the highest level of rarity is, which usually would be a Genesis unit, or I guess Nero would qualify in that as well, then stop. Even if it's not somebody who is necessarily your target, just because usually lightning won't strike twice. In that regard, unless you're just super lucky. But yeah, so that's it for that. Next up is a banner that I don't think is that great. It seems cool on the surface. So this is related to that shop, and I wanted to point that out because of this. So it is functionally a 2.5 banner, filled with lots of great units. I would say every single unit on this rate up is good. The only problem is the rate up doesn't mean a whole lot. And that it costs, it's like full price, right? You could, I guess, burn 2 discount tickets. But to get 3,000 of those coins, you need to do this banner 30 times. And that's going to be like 75,000 gems. That's like almost all of the gems I have to get and you could do that and get, statistically, you'd probably be likely to pick up a few of these units, but you have no idea which ones you would get, and you could very easily have bad rolls and just not get any of them, and then you've paid like either 71, 73 or 75,000 gems to get one of those units, and that costs more. Say you wanted Dark Nyx, and his banner is like 5-step banner where you get 25 shards per lap. That would cost like 62.5k on its own to go the transmutation route. And this is even more expensive than that. So I don't get it. If they'd increased the rate a little bit more, so maybe it was like 50k gems total to grab your unit of your choice. Because I think Adelaide is amazing. I use them all the time. Nyx is one of the best supports. The Dark Twins are great too. I don't have them, but they're definitely good. Ambrosia's kind of a heavy investment, but she's not a bad unit at all. So yeah, they're all good, but I just think it's too expensive. Like, even if you're a whale, it just seems like there's better ways to accomplish this goal. So it feels, I don't know, it's not, I don't think that it's good, and I don't think you should pull on it. And then speaking of not pulling on things, there is an absolutely garbage banner for Ainz. And before I go further, Ainz you can buy in the Louise shop. Oh, shoot, I forgot. It's past 3. I forgot to check on mine. I'm at least very bare minimum spending like 200 gems a day on resets. I've gotten a few of his shards already. That's the path that I want to take. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed that you couldn't like buy his shards outright, because I would have picked that over a Grand Summon easily, but whatevs. I think they must have seen Emrys and be like, nah, we made this too easy. But yeah, don't pull on this banner. It sucks. You can get Soul from the Louise shop also. It's just, if it was a single character and you could transmute them, that's great. But when they split the banner, like for someone like me, I've already got soul maxed out, so it would be a terrible idea. But even if you didn't, it's too easy to spend. I've heard of people spending like 30,000 gems and just getting nothing. That's not worth the trouble. Don't do it. And then speaking of the transmutation path, if you want Nero, this is how you would do it outside of a paid summon. It's so what I'm saying here is Nero is Genesis unit caliber of rarity. She does not appear in the shop, making getting her shards something of a nightmare. And if you get her, you bare minimum want gate 2, because she gets that Dark Atama, Dark Nyx style, gets more out of M attack buffs, and she can become a destroyer. But you know, it's a heavy cost, because you got to consider the cost of her, and then the cost of her Memento, which she really wants her Memento, and she really wants her Memento max limit break, so she can be just extra destroyer. So Nero, right now at this point in the game, Nero is the whale unit. So either A, you've been saving up forever and you have like 100,000+ gems and you're going to gun for it, or you're just going to spend till you get her, because it's crazy. Like for a lot of people, they would need to spend that like 62.5k that I mentioned earlier to do this enough times to get 150 shards and then transmuter. And then you have to worry about how you're going to get the shards. Now that could be worth the trouble for some of you, but definitely not all of you. And if you're not prepared to go that route, don't do it, because you don't want to like sink a ton of gems into something and get nothing out of it. Not saying she's bad, just saying she's intense investment. All right, so below that we've got a decent banner. If you've been around the Genesis and or Magna Historia 2.5s, you know what to expect here. You have small but better than some of the above options chance of pulling a pool of. They're all good units in my opinion. I have the 4 of them that aren't Eins and Nero, and I love them. But really though, it's not realistic to imagine you'd get the unit you want on this banner, but you would get 1,000 of the Veda coins. So if you already have someone like say Dry or Ikasa or Soul, and you're trying to get their gates capped out, this is a great way to get their shards, because those coins will do that for you. And then if you're lucky, you might pull a unit in a more gem efficient way. So I'm looking at doing this banner on Saturday. You know, it's entirely possible that like they have like a paid summon or something that changes my mind, but what I'm looking at for my Saturday summoning video is this banner and then the Memento one for the Veda. And speaking of mementos, there is one for the Magna Historia units. From what I've heard, it's not an amazing memento stat-wise. My understanding is that it's sort of a gate 6 prep thing. It's just like, this is your catch-all, pop it on the sub slot to get some extra stats for your global characters. The nice thing is that it's collab style, so if for whatever reason you want this memento really badly, you don't have to spend as many gems to get it. And if for even crazier reasons you want to get it maxed out, then you can just keep repeating the final step until it's maxed. I don't know if I would advise doing that, but if you want to, it's there. And then finally, the last banner that isn't old is the Veda one. Now, I'm almost a little bit sad that they're all in one, because like I'm a little bit worried I burned all my good luck on the previous Magna Historia one. So I may have to prioritize when it comes to the Selector, which, you know, spoiler alert, it's going to be Soul if I have to pick one. But yeah, so I am definitely going to do this banner before it expires. If you want the people, I mean, if you're one of those whales and or mega savers that I mentioned, you're going to want this Nero memento. Eins, my understanding, what I was reading on Reddit, is that it's great to have, but it's not as considered necessary as it would be for Soul or Nero. So prioritize as such. And then everything below are banners from last week. So if you were holding off on the Sprite banner, you can still do that. And then the other ones that are old aren't worth mentioning. So yeah, that is it for all of the banners. They're not. I expected a bit more. I'm especially disappointed in that like celebration unit favorite thing. That was kind of a bummer. But I am at least holding out a small sliver of hope that the anniversary itself, the 14th, gives us something good, and then we'll have a big old summoning party. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the celebration. Until then, happy Soren grinding and soul grinding and all that, and I will see you guys next time.